Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
In a playoff preview, the Cavs made a case for themselves in the East against the Hawks. Also, the Yankees are off to a hot start, but struggled with the A's, and the Cowboys don't need to chase stars in order to replace Micah Parsons. I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
Cavs-Hawks Wednesday night might have served as an NBA playoff preview. Locked On Cavs host Danny Cunningham reacted to Cleveland's close win over Atlanta, a matchup we could see coming again very soon.
On tonight's show, we had a playoff atmosphere at Rocket Arena tonight. Both teams brought it. It was a great game, and the Cavs came out on top. Donovan Mitchell, incredible shot making yet again tonight. We're going to dive into that. And the biggest thing that jumped out to me from this game is the Atlanta Hawks. And if this really ends up being the playoff series we all think it's going to be, there are a lot of things they can match up with the Cavs and make an interesting series. They have nothing for Evan Mobley, and we're going to talk about what I saw from that tonight to show just that. All of that and a whole lot more. Let's go ahead and let's get started.
This is what you'll be talking about.
When I say playoff atmosphere, you could tell these two teams really wanted this game. Now, for the Cavs, this was really simple. It was kind of, didn't really have anything to gain from this, but that's your most likely opponents in here next weekend. So you want to kind of go out there and take care of business and show them what they're going against. If you're the Hawks, you're trying to clinch your playoff spot still. You're trying to make sure you're not in the play-in. It's highly unlikely, but you want to go ahead and take care of it and make sure you don't have to worry about it. And they, come out there in the first quarter. The Hawks look awesome. The second quarter. Cavs look, they scored 38 in the second quarter. Looks like they're going to take over. And then the fourth quarter, again, they make it a game and they're really, make it interesting. And they have good players, obviously. I think CJ McCollum has been such an underrated piece for them. I didn't know he didn't shoot the ball very well tonight, but they got really nice games from Jonathan Kuminga off the bench. Obviously, Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been potentially the best offseason signing in the NBA. And you're starting to see a little bit more of that as well right now because he's been so good for them. It was just a nice day for the Hawks, but an even better day for the Cavs. And you could see that the competition level was real. James Harden really kind of stepped up a lot in this game. I know 21 isn't a huge game for James Harden, but 21, 5 and 4, 4 of 10 from three. That 3-point play at the end. Getting the 3 shots and when he draws the foul at the end of the game there to get Jalen Johnson to foul out ended up being humongous down the stretch. You get really nice day from Dean Wade back. I know it was only 8 points, but his defense obviously plays a huge factor in the game. In those 2 threes in the first quarter was nice. He was a plus 12. And the bench was so-so. I don't think it's anything the bench is going to be writing home about by any means between Merrill, Strus, Ellis, and Schroeder. So that's another thing I wanted to kind of mention. I think we already knew this. We already knew what the rotation was going to be in the playoffs, I think, to an extent. We got glimpses of it tonight. So you saw them go 9 deep. And, it's the saying of play 9, trust 8, right? Is that, depending, you can move the number any order you want. But if this is what they think it's going to be, I think the Cavs will be pretty happy with that. Going, 9 deep tonight. The most minutes, the least minutes you got was Dennis Schroeder playing 14. And he shot, he only had 4 shot attempts tonight, so he was okay there. But defensively, you could tell he was not where he needed to be. And that's going to happen with Schroeder sometimes. But yeah, I think tonight was a really fun game. It was great for the Cavs to go ahead and take this one. Kind of makes you just feel better. So that's win 51 on the year. They have home court advantage now. And Atlanta still has to fight. So Friday, I suspect it's not going to be the same atmosphere. It could be because the Hawks are looking to obviously still clinch their playoff spot, and they have to win in one of their last 2 games. And obviously, I don't suspect we'll see anyone playing on Sunday against the Wizards by any means. But it was nice to see the Cavs go out there and just take this one from them and show and I feel like send a message, because when both these two teams kick into gear and both these teams are in full effect, I don't see a road where the Hawks are better than the Cavs. And if you listen to Danny's show today with Anthony Lima, they were kind of saying the same thing in that conversation. And it was a really good show, and it was a really good conversation about just like, I know a lot of people are out there like the Hawks could be scary for the Cavs. I don't think the Cavs are freaking out with the Hawks. And I think this is a series that they feel pretty comfortable they can go and win.
Stay up to date all year on the Cleveland Cavaliers by subscribing to Locked On Cavs on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Your Locked On Sports today. Coming up, the Yankees are cooking early. Before we get to that, the NCAA could be shaking things up again. The NBA playoffs are nearly here, where every possession matters, every matchup is magnified, and every game can swing a series. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a great way to get in on the action. You can bet just $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. The app makes it easy to follow the action with player stats, trends, and matchups all in one place. And during the playoffs, that extra insight really matters when you're looking at stars, role players, and key moments. It makes the entire playoff experience more engaging from start to finish. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel, play your game. The NCAA might be headed toward its biggest eligibility shakeup yet, and this one comes with a clock. A new proposal would tie eligibility to age, giving athletes 5 years starting when they either turn 19 or graduate high school, whichever comes first. The goal, simplicity, and maybe fewer lawsuits in a system that's been anything but simple lately. Injury waivers and endless eligibility extensions have turned into a legal mess, and the NCAA is clearly trying to get ahead of it. Whether this actually cleans things up or just creates a new set of problems, we'll find out soon enough. The Magic picked up what could prove to be a crucial win over the Timberwolves.
This is Philip Rossman-Wright, the host of Locked On Magic here at the Kia Center, as the Orlando Magic finished their 2025-26 regular season home schedule with a 132-120 victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Just what the doctor ordered to get your fourth straight victory. You take on a team that's missing 4 of their 5 starters, and you beat them into a pulp. Orlando had the ball moving from the very beginning, 32 assists on 45 field goals, I believe. This is free and flowing as the offense has looked in a very, very long time. Everybody ate tonight. Powell had 20. Franz Wagner had 17 in his limited minutes. And the Magic just had this rollicking win where everything just seemed to work. They found their defense in the second quarter, as well as for good chunks of the third quarter, as they grew and expanded their lead to as much as, I believe, 24 points in this game. Obviously, the big news from this game was a scare in the third quarter. Early in the third quarter, when Franz Wagner went down with an apparent knee injury, everyone was fearing the worst, especially considering that is the knee or the leg that he injured previously with a high ankle sprain that caused him to miss 47 of 51 games. But Franz came back. He looked no worse for the wear. He was able to dunk the ball even. It ended up not being nothing more than a scare. Obviously, Orlando just trying to get by with these injuries. So for the first time since December 7th, the Magic had really their top 7 players available to them. They had Anthony Block back, of course, as well. And the Magic looked like that team once again. Again, the ball just moved so freely. Everything just seemed to work for Orlando. And they beat up a team that they frankly should beat up on without all the players that they're missing. Orlando now on a 4-game win streak. They pull just a half game ahead of the Philadelphia 76ers for 7. They're a half game back of the Toronto Raptors for 6, putting the pressure on everybody to keep up because the Magic are winning games that they need to win down the stretch.
And in baseball, the Rockies. Yes, the Rockies crushed the Astros.
But how insane is it that this team has one of the most, if not the most prolific scoring offense in all of baseball, but their pitchers look like Joe Kelly in his backyard throwing and missing the pitching net and breaking a window. I mean, that's really what they're doing. Politically Incorrect says no Mike fires under any circumstances. That's correct. The fact that you got me to say that on the show, I should probably receive a penalty for that.
The New York Yankees are off to an incredibly hot start to the season, but struggled yesterday against the Athletics, who are not having the best start to the year. Locked On Yankees host Stacey Getsoulias and Brian McKeon reacted to New York's squabble with the A's.
Yeah, a 3-2 loss. David Bednar, it seemed like, hasn't had it in his last few outings, and it kind of reared its ugly head in this game. He didn't have it in this game at all. It's one of those games where the offense didn't get going, and I will discuss this at some point too, but the bottom of the order is just not producing. Right. And they're not getting hits where they need to. They're not even having productive at-bats.
Where they are, but it's like every 9 games. It's like they'll have a good game, then nothing, then a good game, and then it'll be nothing. So we'll see how long this lasts.
Yeah, so I mean, I loved the idea of giving Rosario another day and letting him play, especially after last night giving you the 2 home runs. Mm-hmm. The problem is you gave Rosario the day and you let him play today, or yesterday, you let him play in yesterday's game, and you still put McMahon in the game. So it doesn't really mean you're removing McMahon and giving Rosario playtime over McMahon. McMahon just played shortstop. And he didn't play a terrible shortstop, by the way. He
By
was
the way,
fine.
how many balls were hit to him? At least 5 or 6? Yeah.
Yeah. And he was fine at shortstop. He just continued. And the problem with him is never the glove, though.
No.
He continued to not hit at the plate. And that was a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. The defense wasn't crisp. 2 errors. Will Warren, not terrible, but, too many pitches, didn't last long enough. 4 2/3 innings, 2 runs on 5 hits, 5 Ks, good, 3 walks, not great. It could have gone worse for him. He did get out of some situations there, but it just was one of those games where you felt early on, or at least I did. I thought, I don't know. This feels like a game that we're going to be really irritated by the end.
At the start of the game, I thought it felt like they were going to, blow him out and run away with it because they were hitting Severino. And then once he got through that first inning, he kind of dialed in and he became unhittable to them. They could not touch him after that.
But it wasn't even getting through. Like, it was the first inning, because after they got the 2 runs, then he struck 3 people out. You're like, oh, here we go. They should have really done more before he was able to turn things around. I mean, he had 95 pitches in the 5th inning, I believe. So he was knocked out early, but they couldn't get anything going against him after that. They really had him on the ropes. He threw more than 30 pitches in the first inning. And
the player that struggled the most for the Yankees in this game has to be Ben Rice. That's not his best game of the year.
That's my bad. I was talking him up in the All Access newsletter on Wednesday morning. So that's all me. My bad. I'm so sorry.
Golden sombrero, 4 strikeouts. Not great in the field either. Was booting stuff around. The pickoff attempt. I don't know if they would have got him at second base, but still he did bobble it on the transfer. He didn't have a great game overall for the Yankees in this game. But
also,
again,
can the guys playing on the left side of the infield actually get the ball to Rice and stop bouncing the ball to him also? Like, that would help.
Exactly. I thought really good a game in the field for the corner outfielders. Bellinger, the play that he made late in the game to save the run was a tremendous play. Judge got a couple balls in, and one guy, the Yankees just can't wait for him to get out of town. Jeff McNeil. I mean, they can't keep him off the base paths. I mean, he's on base every single time he gets up against them. He created havoc against them when he was a Met. Now he's doing it when he's as an athletic. Is that what you call it? You'd say an athletic, right?
It's an athletic, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Not the athletic, an athletic.
Yeah, he's an athletic. Just something about it doesn't roll off the tongue. But yeah, this kind of just feels like one of those games, and I think it's a little more magnified because it's early on in the season and we're all, baseball hyped up and everything. If this game happens in the middle of July, it's kind of one of those, crumble the paper up, toss it away, and get back at it.
Be annoyed though, because it's the type of game where you can't get anything really going at the top of the order. When the bottom of the order comes up, like, when you saw the bottom of the order was coming up in the 9th inning, you're just like, okay, the game's over. And you don't want to feel like it's the opposite of knowing that a game was over because Mo was coming in and he was going to shut down the opposing batters. Now it's, if the Yankees are coming up in the bottom of the 9th and the bottom of the order is there, you're just like, well, all right, to chalk this up to a loss.
Well, just look at it, right?
As a loss.
Past Stanton in the order, you have Jazz, who has, I'm sorry, had some of the worst approaches of his career at the plate so far to start the year. I mean, he has, even the at-bat he took to 9 pitches at the end of this game. He was not turning on the fastball at all. He was fouling them off, but every one that he was fouling off, he was extremely late on, and then finally winds up striking out. And it wasn't really a good at-bat because, again, he was just settling fastball and he was still late on the pitch because he was, trying to do something with it. Jazz, again, we've said this a couple times though. It's been a home run or nothing approach for him so far this season. He has not had good at bats at all. Then you go to the catcher position in Escara. Him and Wells offensively have been zeros.
Yeah,
Escara literally doesn't have a hit in the season so far, and Wells has been nothing great at all. Rosario, up until yesterday, last night's game was good, not great, or 2 nights ago. And McMahon has been nothing. He's been a complete zero all season. Like, he's got 2 hits, I believe, on the year. He's not been good. So you need more production from 6 through 9. You can't be automatic outs that low in the lineup. And, again, you're going to get the good games out of Ahmed Rosario, like you did on Tuesday night. But you can't expect those. And these guys, no one saying these guys need to carry the roster, Stacey.
Stay up to date all year on the New York Yankees by subscribing to Locked On Yankees on your favorite podcast app. Coming up, the Cowboys don't need to find a star to replace Micah Parsons. The Dallas Cowboys are searching for a replacement for star pass rusher Micah Parsons, but according to Locked On NFL host Tony Wiggins and David Harrison, depth is the key for Dallas, and the Cowboys should trade back in order to find it.
Yeah, I like what they're talking because there's good draft talk, but here's the problem that I have with it. If you're Dallas, you still have to target a player. You still have to say, okay, this is my guy, especially in the first round. You know, whatever we do, we end up with this dude. Because one of the things, and this isn't on Marcus, but one of the things that kind of is it almost is like somebody scratching the chalkboard for me, is when people say, we want him, but 4 is rich and 12 is more rational. If you want him, go get him. Nobody's going to care where he was picked if he can play. And then we forget about the scheme specificity of this. Some guys, if they're tailor-made for your system, they're going to get in your system and they're going to end up being an all-pro if you win, right? So nobody is going to care at all. They're going to worry about the production. Now, I say that, and I live in a city where everyone says Trayvon Walker wasn't worth the number 1 pick, but he's a really good player. You're either a bust or you're not. Mm-hmm. And if you get the guy that fits your culture, you get the guy that fits your culture. If you move back, if you're Dallas, because there's no bigger difference, you're able to get Christian Parker more secondary players because that system is really designed for secondary players. Just look in Philly for secondary players and edge rushers to really get after it. But they kind of come at you in numbers. Even in Philadelphia, they always got 3 different edge rushers. They always have multiple ways of lining up. They always have scheme versatility with Cooper DeJean moving in and moving out and all of these things. I really believe that you have to hit it in numbers because you're not going to replace Micah Parsons with 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think you're correct there. And what I would say is if you're sitting at number 12 and you think that trading up to number 4 is a little rich to get a guy that you really like, the fact that you think it's just a little bit too much to pay at number 4, I don't know why you have the confidence that he's going to fall 8 more spots to you.
That's my point.
Number 12, right?
Other people are smart too.
Right. Yeah, 100%. And look, I know I saw a recent 5-round mock draft where, teams, where the site said, hey, Micah Parsons fell to the Cowboys at number 12 back when he came out of the NFL draft. So why not Sonny Styles do the same thing? Well, there's some stark differences between Micah Parsons and Sonny Styles, and I don't want to turn this into a pseudo episode of Locked On NFL Draft, but let's just say that some of the question marks and baggage that Micah Parsons had following him out of Penn State, Sonny Styles does not have any of that stuff to worry a team. So if you think Sonny Styles is getting out of the top 10, I would be very, very surprised to see that. So here are the Dallas Cowboys, man, whether it's David Bailey, whether it's Sonny Styles, whether it's Caleb Downs. And again, like not all these guys help replace, Micah Parsons directly, but if you have somebody who can be versatile, if you have a defensive player that can be versatile on your team, it can certainly help set up other things for your defense and make some of those other players that you're going to bring in later to try to replace them better. Then I think, like you said, if you want somebody, go up and get them. I think number 6, honestly, for the Dallas Cowboys, I think number 6 is the spot to look out for. The Cleveland Browns, I think they're going to be in a prime situation where they're probably going to like a lot of guys that are left on the board at number 6, but I don't know if they're going to love any of them, and none of them are going to make them immediate contenders. And so they'll be a team that are on the lookout for trying to move back. But if the Cleveland Browns are smart, which historically they're not, but if they're smart this year, they're not going to want just, picks this year. I think they're going to want 2027 picks. So you're going to have the Dallas Cowboys trying to move up from 12 to 6. And then the Cleveland Browns are going to say, okay, but we'll swap 12 and 6. But outside of 12, we don't want nothing you got in 2026. We want stuff that you got in 2027 in what's supposed to be a much better draft class. So the question then is Jerry Jones going to fork over 2027 draft capital in what everybody knows is supposed to be a better class to the Cleveland Browns in order to move up and get him. But again, like you said, if you love David Bailey, if you love Reuben Bain Jr., if you love Caleb Downs or Sonny Styles or any of these guys that are on the board number 6, go get them. Like, why sit back and wait? Absolutely go get them. I've been having the same conversation on Locked On Commanders this week. Not that it's my favorite approach to it per se, but If you absolutely love a guy and you don't think he's going to reach you at number 7 for the Commanders, number 12 for the Cowboys, or whatever number team you're sitting at, go get him. Don't wait for fate to find you. Go make your own.
This, of course, comes on the heels of whispers that they could be looking to trade up into the first round, maybe even to the top 5 to get an elite pass rusher. My thing is they made the Micah Parsons trade, understanding that Micah alone was not enough. Then they go out and they make the Quinn Williams trade. They need bodies on this defense. It is bereft of talent. But another star would help. The problem is they're just not in a position to do that. This is a team that is not on that tier yet with the Eagles, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Packers, even the Lions. They might be right there with the Lions. But trading back is almost always the move. And the reality is, for a team like Dallas, they need some offensive line depth. They need defensive backs. They need linebackers. They need all sorts of stuff. Trading up for a pass rusher when you just traded out of having the pass rusher or one of the pass rushers in the NFL, certainly the pass rusher in the NFC, at the very least, it's not a very good look for Jerry Jones, and we know he cares about that. And finally, Shohei Ohtani is doing things that don't even make sense, even by his standards. He's now riding baseball's longest active on-base streak at 43 games going back to last year, and the longest active scoreless innings streak by a starter at 28.2. So yeah, he's simultaneously one of the hardest outs in baseball and one of the hardest pitchers to score on. At this point, it feels much less like a hot streak and more like we're just watching a one-man sport. Shohei Ohtani is truly one of one. Coming up, will Victor Wembanyama find his way onto the court before the regular season ends in order to secure his status as a potential league MVP? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.